Miss Shadwick, I'd like you to remind the jury what happened on the morning of Thursday, the 24th of December, 1998. That's the morning after the party.
When I woke up, you mean?
If you would.
Well, like I said yesterday, I was just very confused. I didn't know where I was or how I ended up there. And then I saw the condom packet lying at the side of the bed. And the blood on the sheet.
But at this point, you still weren't certain as to whether or not you'd had sexual intercourse.
No, I didn't think I had. I was hoping I hadn't.
You were hoping you hadn't. In your statements to the police, you claim to have been a virgin prior to the party.
I was?
So this would have been your first sexual experience?
Yes.
Had you had boyfriends before?
Well, yeah, but nothing serious.
So when you say nothing serious, what exactly do you mean?
Well, I kissed a couple of lads, but that was it.
So you've never gone any further than kissing?
No.
Why not?
Because I never wanted to. I didn't want to sleep with just anyone. I wanted it to be right. I wanted it to mean something.
So you were holding out for someone special?
Yes.
You were at a party where alcohol and various illegal substances were freely available. There are various witnesses who claim that they saw you behaving in a very provocative manner. How can you be certain that in your intoxicated state you didn't consent to intercourse? In short, you couldn't be sure that it wasn't all your fault.
No.
You can't be sure even now that these flashbacks aren't what you've imagined, or what you would rather have happened. Thank you, Miss Shadwick.
Miss Shadwick, at any time during the party, did you intend to have sex with anybody?
No, of course I didn't.
And did you know what effect the combination of alcohol and this particular drug might have on you?
Well, how could I? I didn't even know I'd taken a drug.
Are you even clear in your own mind today what effect they had on you?
No, not really.
When you awoke and guessed that you must have had sex, what was your state of mind?
I didn't know what to do.
And did you know who best to turn to?
No, I didn't.
Thank you very much, Miss Shadwick.
You are free to leave the court if you wish, Miss Shadwick.
Your Honour, I'd like to call Dr. Josephine O'Keefe, the psychiatrist who will testify as to the effects of the drugs involved and to the reliability of Miss Shadwick's memory.
I just want to keep him in for a few more days. Keep an eye on this chest infection.
Well, that's a good sign, isn't it? Listen, I can only stay half an hour, but I'll come straight back in after school later.
You don't have to, you know.
I want to. I'm supposed to be running one of the after-school clubs, but, well, Thingy. What's her name? Karen said she'd do it for me.
Makes a nice change.
What does?
Putting your family before school.
That's unfair. You know, my family have always meant more to me than work.
It didn't seem that way sometimes.
Yeah, well, I'll make it up to you, I promise.
Jimmy, if I had a pound for every time I've heard you say that.
Yeah, well, Jackie, I mean it. Look, I'm made up you've moved back in again.
Says it.
Well, I just assumed. I mean, you came home yesterday for a bath and everything.
Well, we were spending so much time together in this place, it didn't seem to make any difference.
Well, it's for the best. Especially when we bring this little fella back home next week. He'll be made up to have his mum and dad living back together again. Won't you, son?
Due to the fact that Miss Shadwick had removed the sheet from the bed, our scene of crime officer was unable to find any traces of hair or semen or anything of that nature. The only thing we did come across was a shirt button.
And was there anything particularly distinctive about this button?
It was just a small metal button.
And did this button match the shirt Mr. Musgrove was wearing on the night of the alleged rape?
Yes, it was an identical match.
Could you tell the jury where this button was found?
Yes, it was on the bed.
On the bed?
Yes.
Not on the floor or anywhere else in the room, but on the bed?
That's right.
This wasn't the only piece of evidence you came across, was it, D.S. Rose?
No. During a search of the bins, we retrieved some empty alcohol bottles, the same brand Miss Shadwick had been drinking on the night.
And what was the aim of this?
To find any bottle Miss Shadwick had been drinking from.
And how could you know which ones to choose?
She was drinking a distinctive brand of lager. We recovered 4 such bottles with Miss Shadwick's fingerprints on them. They were sent to the forensic laboratory for examination, and some small traces of a tranquilizing drug were discovered inside one of them.
Once again, I would like to refer Your Honour to page 12 of the forensic report. So, she might have drunk the drug from that bottle.
That is one possibility.
Were any other fingerprints found on the bottle?
No.
So someone may have introduced the drug into the bottle without leaving fingerprints.
That is the possibility.
Your Honour, D.S. Rose is drawing inferences here, as he's perfectly entitled to do, but the hard fact remains that there is no evidence as to who put that drug in that bottle or why.
That's perfectly true, Ma'am.
Duly noted, Mr. Curran.
Miss Shadwick was examined by a police doctor. Could you please tell the jury the findings of that examination?
Dr. Whitelaw found some slight bruising on Miss Shadwick's upper thighs, consistent with sexual intercourse under the suggested circumstances.
Yes, so the jury has heard that Miss Shadwick was a virgin before the alleged rape. Was Dr. Whitelaw able to verify this?
It was Dr. Whitelaw's opinion that she had been a virgin.
Thank you, Detective Sergeant Rose.
Auntie Rose?
Matthew! How's it going?
I've never felt so mortified in my whole life.
Yeah, well, it's all over now, love. You've done your bit. You can go home if you want.
No, I'd rather stay. Wouldn't mind getting some fresh air, though. It's so claustrophobic in there.
Come on, I'll come outside with you.
Yeah, you could do with a bit of fresh air myself. Oh, well, I need the book.
Yeah, me too. Look, all me's here.
Right, okay.
All right, mate. How's it going? How's it going? It's a nightmare. They're asking our Nicky all kinds. You know, that personal stuff, trying to make out that she's some slag who'd sleep with anything. I feel sick about all this. I mean, I don't know why they've called me.
Well, you were the last to see you, weren't you?
Yeah, apart from Luke Musgrove. And I've been hanging around for ages.
Yeah. Well, it shouldn't be much longer now, mate. Do you reckon the old case is only going to last a couple of days?
Yeah. I'll see you later.
See you later.
Miss Evans, were you at all aware that your friend was behaving any differently on the night of the party?
No, not that I noticed. Nicky and I, we were just having a laugh.
You wouldn't say she was behaving in a provocative manner at all?
No.
So you think it would be unfair to suggest that she was throwing herself at anybody on the night? Deliberately leading anybody on, as far as you could see?
No, like I said, we were just at a party having a laugh, that's all. There's no harm in that, is there?
Thank you, Miss Evans.
Miss Evans, you say that you noticed no difference in Miss Shadwick's behaviour on the night of the party.
Yes.
So you disagree with the witness statements that she was behaving in a totally outrageous fashion?
Yes, of course I would.
And you have absolutely no doubt about that?
Of course not.
May I remind you what Jason Shadwick said at the party?
How do you mean?
Well, is it not true to say that he was far from happy with his sister's behaviour? That he said that Nicky had had too much to drink and should go home? Do you remember that?
Yes, but I didn't agree with him.
Well, you had been drinking too.
Yeah, but I wasn't drunk or anything. Look, Jason's just a normal big brother. He was probably just being a bit overprotective, that's all.
So overprotective that he suggested that she should leave the party and go home?
Nicky was just having a good time. She didn't deserve what happened to her.
Please, Miss Evans, just answer the question I put to you. Did Miss Shadwick's brother find his sister's behaviour so appalling that he asked her to leave the party and go home?
Yes.
What are you doing here? You seem really depressed this morning. I just wanted to check you were okay. How come you're not in there?
I can't listen to Dad anymore. It's horrible hearing them talk. I'm just gonna wait here till they come out. This place is crawling with business.
I'll be over soon. I'm eating concentrate on getting rich.
How are we going to do that since them German birds on it for the last stuff?
At least you got a shag out of it.
Shh. This is a court. You can't say things like shagging here.
Anyway, we'll have to lay our hands on more stuff. Jerome's still going on about the money he gave us. He's still expecting a profit. Not to mention all them irate customers who'll be turning up on your doorstep.
That's the last thing my mum and Dad need.
So you took her up to the bedroom?
Yeah.
Could you tell the jury what happened once you were inside the bedroom?
Nothing. Just
pulled back the covers and helped her into bed.
And did you make any attempt to undress her?
No. Well, I took her shoes off, that's all, and just covered her up and went back downstairs.
And how was Miss Shadwick when you left the room?
She was asleep.
So in the time it took you to put her to bed and leave the room, she'd already fallen asleep?
Yeah, as soon as I hit the pillow, she just went out like a light.
So when you left the room, she was fully dressed, covered, and fast asleep?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon.
How is he?
Oh, he hasn't been too bad. He really perked up for an hour or so this afternoon. Played with his toys and stuff. Must have tired himself out.
Oh, well, that's a good sign, isn't it?
Yeah. I went to have a cup of tea with Sandra in a break. I should have heard some of the things she was telling me about the kids in here who'll never go home. I know it sounds dramatic, but you know, I think nurses are more like angels than human beings. They deserve a medal.
Pity the same can't be said about teachers.
How do you mean?
Well, I finished my marking today. End of year exams.
And?
Well, put it this way. I don't think Karen's going to be very happy with me.
That bad?
Just don't understand it. I mean, you know, in class the kids are great, you know, seem to enjoy the lesson, but the results just don't reflect it.
Well, can't you just forge them? You have done with everything else.
You're really enjoying this, aren't you?
Oh, don't be so ridiculous. To be completely honest, I couldn't care less, Jimmy. The only thing I care about is getting our will home. There are more important things in the world than exam results, you know.
Members of the jury, you have heard that Luke Musgrove has been charged on 2 counts. Count 1 of having unlawful sexual intercourse with a woman, and count 2 of administering a noxious substance with intent to injure, the basic intention being to deprive Miss Shadwick of the ability to resist rape. Now, on what firm evidence does the prosecution found its case? Admissions from the defendant? No. Compelling forensic evidence? No. Finding a bottle of sedatives, perhaps, hidden in his bedroom? No. Having an eyewitness to the alleged rape? No. Flashbacks apart, if you dare to call them evidence, it would be fair to say that the prosecution amounts to a button. One button. One button to proclaim the defendant a ruthless seducer, a drugger of a virgin, and a rapist. Well, surely not. Luke Musgrove was arrested 18 days after the alleged incident took place. And what was the reason for his arrest? Had the police search of number 5 Brookside Close unearthed some compelling new DNA evidence? Evidence usually so essential in securing a conviction in a case as serious as this? No, this is not the case. Luke Musgrove was arrested purely on the basis of a single button which had been found in the bedroom after the alleged rape occurred. Now, Mr. Musgrove has never at any time denied that this button belonged to a shirt he was wearing that evening. So, ask yourselves this. Is a single shirt button found in the room where Mr. Musgrove freely admits he had earlier been embracing Miss Shadwick evidence enough to convict a man of rape? The police clearly didn't think so. Mr. Musgrove was released 4 days later without any charge being made against him. 1 month later, he was rearrested and charged. Had compelling new evidence been discovered? Had an eyewitness come forward to verify that Mr. Musgrove had indeed been seen with Miss Shadwick in the bedroom at the time of the alleged rape? Once again, the answer is no. Luke Musgrove was arrested simply because 6 weeks after the alleged incident, Miss Shadwick claimed to have had what you've heard described in this court as a flashback. A flashback in which she claims to have remembered Mr. Musgrove having sexual intercourse with her. 6 weeks after the alleged incident, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Furthermore, Miss Shadwick believes that it was Mr. Musgrove who dropped a tranquilizing drug into her drink with the sole purpose of having sexual intercourse with her. Once again, there is no firm evidence to substantiate this claim. Yes, we've heard that an empty beer bottle was recovered containing minute traces of a drug, but there's not a single shred of evidence to link that bottle to Mr. Musgrove. In effect, The drink could have been tampered with by any other single person at that party. So, this is the sum of what the prosecution puts to you, members of the jury. 1 button plus 1 flashback equals guilt. Well, I say to you, the prosecution can't do its sums. 1 button plus 1 flashback equals not guilty. It is the aim of the defence to prove to you that Luke Musgrove is not guilty of this indictment. Your Honour, I'd like to call the defendant Luke Musgrove.
Take the Bible in your right hand and read from the card.
I do solemnly swear by Almighty God to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Thank you.
Mr. Musgrove, perhaps it would be helpful to start by telling the court of your relationship with Miss Shadwick prior to the party.
We were just neighbours. We'd only recently moved into the area. I knew her to let on to. We'd chatted once or twice, and that was about it.
So at the party you were already on vaguely familiar terms with Miss Shadwick?
Yeah.
Did you find her attractive?
Yeah. She's a very attractive girl. I think most people fancied her.
Most people?
Well, there were some people there who commented on the night. I think it was partly to do with the way she was dressed.
Or could you describe the way that she was dressed?
It was quite minimal, I suppose.
Would you expand on that?
Well, she was wearing this top and it was showing her cleavage and stuff, and a short skirt. I'm sure most fellas there were a bit turned on, I suppose.
So you were aware that she was attracting a lot of male attention due to the way that she was dressed?
And the way she looks.
Did Miss Shadwick approach you, or did you approach her?
I approached her to start.
Mm-hmm. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah. I could see she was being chatted up by this lad. I didn't know him at the time. Turns out he was a friend from university. Harvey something.
Harvey Fairhurst?
Yeah, that's him.
So you noticed this Harvey character talking to Miss Shadwick?
Well, being a pain, really. Trying to cop off with her. I could see she was looking hassled, so I went over and got rid of him for her.
Got rid of him?
You know, just warned him off.
So you could see that Miss Shadwick was looking uncomfortable and you decided to intervene?
Yeah.
How did she react to this?
She was grateful.
Did she thank you?
Yeah, she called me her knight in shining armour.
Her knight in shining armour?
Yeah.
Well, what did she do?
She just smiled and went upstairs.
And what did you make of this?
I got the impression that she fancied me. The fact that she'd called me her knight in shining armour and the way she looked at me.
So what did you do then?
I followed her upstairs.
And what happened then?
She'd gone to the toilet. I waited till she came out and we started kissing.
And was there any conversation prior to this?
Not that I can remember. We didn't waste any time, really. It was obvious we liked each other. We carried on kissing, but it was a bit embarrassing because there was people around.
Can you remember who?
I can remember Jason, Nicky's brother. He came over and told her to go home.
Did you know why he'd said that?
I just assumed he didn't like seeing his sister kissing someone.
That he was simply being protective?
Yeah.
And how did Miss Shadwick react to her brother's comments?
I can't remember. I think she just told him to mind his own business.
At this stage, were you aware that Miss Shadwick was intoxicated?
Well, I knew she'd had a drink like everybody else, but I wouldn't call her particularly drunk or anything.
So, it was at this point that you decided to go into the bedroom?
Yeah.
Did Miss Shadwick object to going into the bedroom with you?
No.
So, despite the fact that prior to this kiss you were no more than mere acquaintances, she showed no reluctance in going into the bedroom with you?
No.
What did you think?
Well, I was pleased. I fancied her, and I knew a lot of other people fancied her as well. I suppose I was flattered that she'd chosen me.
And what happened in the bedroom?
We carried on kissing.
Anything else?
Well, I started to, you know, caress her.
Caress her?
Just running my hands up and down her body while we kissed.
And how did she react?
She pushed me away.
Did she say anything?
She said, I'm drunk, but I'm not that drunk, and then she went back downstairs.
Were you disappointed?
Of course I was. But it was hardly the end of the world. It wasn't like the first time I'd been knocked back.
So this very attractive young woman makes advances towards you, goes into a bedroom with you, kisses you, and then quite abruptly decides that she wants no more to do with it. Well, you must have felt very rejected.
I did. But not rejected enough to rape her.
So what did you do?
Well, I wasn't going to let it spoil me even. I went back downstairs and continued enjoying the party.
At any point after this, did you return to the bedroom?
No.
Are you absolutely sure about that, Mr. Musgrove?
Yeah.
Thank you. No further questions.
Mr. Musgrove, the jury heard evidence from Detective Sergeant Rose that your shirt button was found on the bed in the room where the alleged rape took place. How do you explain this?
I've already said I was in the room with Nikki. I don't deny that.
Exactly where in the room?
Oh, just behind the door.
So a considerable distance from the bed?
No, not really. It was only a small box room. The bed's behind the door.
But you never, at any point, went near the bed?
No. We didn't get on the bed, if that's what you mean.
So don't you find it strange that this is where your button was found?
Yeah, I do.
And you have absolutely no idea how this may have occurred?
Well, she sort of fell against me. Sort of stumbled like and grabbed the front of my shirt. Could have come off then.
Now, you told the court that Miss Shadwick's brother had approached you on the landing.
Yeah.
What the defense has already told us made it perfectly clear that Mr. Shadwick was very embarrassed by his sister's behavior. He considered her to be drunk and showing herself up. Were you not aware of this?
No, not really.
Or were you hoping that it would work in your favor?
I don't understand.
You've admitted you found her very attractive, that you were turned on by the way she was dressed?
Yeah.
The fact that she was in an intoxicated state no doubt made you think that a sexual encounter was more likely.
No, that's not true.
Mr. Musgrove, if a number of witnesses say they saw you on the landing at the time of the alleged rape, would they be wrong?
I'd probably have just been to the toilet.
Probably.
Well, there's no other reason for me to go back upstairs.
Well, not unless you knew Miss Shadwick was unconscious in the bedroom, which you did, didn't you, Mr. Musgrove?
Yeah, everybody knew.
Well, let's look at the facts, Mr. Musgrove. You find yourself in a clinch with a young woman whom you were sexually attracted to. You take her into the bedroom, knowing she was intoxicated, in the hope of taking things further.
No.
Come off it, Mr. Musgrove. Everyone else at the party knew she'd had too much to drink. Seems rather implausible that you hadn't noticed it too. But you led her into the bedroom, despite of this, only to be rejected. Now, you didn't like this, did you, Mr. Musgrove? How much further were you prepared to go?
I don't know what you mean.
Shall I spell it out for you? You wanted revenge. So you resorted to Plan B. You were going to have Miss Shadwick one way or the other. You were determined to make her pay for rejecting you. So you went back downstairs to the party, dropped the tranquilizer into her drink, and then later went back into the bedroom where you raped her.
That's not true. You've got it all wrong. I never raped her. I mean, even her own brother thought she was acting like a slag.
Look, I don't want you thinking that I'm getting all heavy or anything, because I'm not.
I quite agree.
You sometimes have far too much to drink too, don't you?
I don't know what you mean.
Are you saying that I am dull?
Would I? God, would I dare?
How's it going?
From bad to worse.
This is your big chance. You may as well grab it while you can.
He didn't do it.